Hello, beautiful people. Hope you're having a great day out there. There was a question that was posed, and I want to share it with you right now. So, a lot of people are wondering, why in the world are people having so many allergies? So, I want you to stay tuned because I'm going to give you a few things at the end, 3 major things that you can do to really help to get down the histamines within your body. But I've had that really awesome question that people have posed again about why do we have so many histamine or allergic responses after trauma? So let's go into the nitty-gritty of this. So our immune system, just like many systems of our body, integrate with also the nervous system, which tells us, are we safe, right? Stranger danger, fight and flight. So the body is constantly integrating, it's taking in information. And so if the body after trauma feels like it's still not safe, we're gonna keep making this alarm signal. Now, the alarm signal can not only just go in the nervous system or what we call the endocrine system, but also the immune system. And so basically the body thinks it's no longer safe. And so we have these special cells that release histamines. Now, histamines are important because they can basically, if we get an infection, or I should say more or less like if we eat something that's bad, or if there's a stranger danger thing, those histamines go in and like, oh, let's get rid of that, and we cause inflammation and other cells come running and try to take care of things. But we think about it a lot with allergies, but some people have what's called like mast cell activation syndrome, or they're having a lot of allergic responses, like they used to be able to eat all kinds of foods and now they're down to like 5 or 6 foods. And we've seen that many times in our practice. And it's usually after trauma. And again, what we have to do is settle the system down to allow it to recognize that it's no longer running from a bear. Now the problem is, if you are an individual that's under chronic stress and you're living in those chemicals of survival, of stress, it's going to be really hard to get the body out of it. And so it takes a conscious effort. It's not just about taking things, it's also about retraining the body again. So there's a lot of ways that we can help with histamine regulation, but people may feel more anxious. So histamine, just so you know, it makes us really anxious. And then for some people, instead of anxiousness, it makes them really depressed. And so they may come in with a history of depression or anxiety, and they may even have rashes on their body. They may be waking up in the middle of the night. They may have itching. They may have more frequent loose stools. They may even have what's called interstitial cystitis. They may have more migraine headaches. They may have more heart palpitations. Their blood pressure may be way high. But basically, histamines can do all of those things. And people don't realize that. They think that it's something else. But histamines are all over our body. We have histamine receptors all over our body, and there's histamine 1 receptors, histamine 2 receptors, 3 and 4. And so there are certain drugs that are out on the market that people may take to be more targeted and supportive, and then for a lot of people they may take certain types of drugs for their migraines. So really we want to try to get those histamines down and again quell the system. So when we think about histamines, they can also then be converted into or push dopamine. Well, dopamine is a brain chemical, and then dopamine gets converted into norepinephrine, which is a brain chemical that makes us anxious, and it can definitely stress us out. And then epinephrine, it's like the fight and flight phenomenon going on. So again, the body thinks it's in danger and it's running from the bear. So we want to try to help break down those histamines. So it's not just about, again, like I said, taking things, it's also about quelling the system. So our thoughts matter. And I know that sounds kind of silly, but you know, it's like the body is so programmed, it gets into this rut and it can't get out of it. So, you know, a lot of people, they're ruminating and we need to help them calm that down. So again, we will be doing some type of exercises and support to help the emotional body and the thoughts as we try to quell the system. However, getting to how we break down histamines is sometimes we do add antihistamine support. And one of those things could be something over the counter like I spoke about earlier, but we can also give cofactors. Now, cofactors are minerals and vitamins that actually are required in order for us to get rid of the histamines in our body. Now, some of those include magnesium, B6, and even pantothenic acid. Now, I'm not advocating for you to take these things. I just want you to know that there are certain biochemical processes that are required for this to happen. Now, for some people, they also find that vitamin C can be helpful, but some people find that it's not helpful, and because it may be made from citrus, it can make them more histaminergic. So that's something to think about. So having the right cofactors around can really make a difference. Now, the other thing I want to share about when we're helping people is we want to try to sometimes find out their specific food intolerances. And that is what we call nutrigenomics, looking at your food with your genes and looking at where you as an individual, your family history, where you are from, and certain geographical areas, there weren't those certain foods. So if you're eating those, that's going to also cause more of an alarm response because the body thinks it's in a place it doesn't belong. It's not safe. I hope that makes sense. Kind of cool. And the third thing is we have to settle or calm the autonomic nervous system down. So there's lots of ways that we can do this. That's the third way, right? So we could do anything like earthing or grounding. Now, for some people with histaminergic responses, we can't really have them outside the same way. But also we can do what's called cranio-sacral therapy. Now, that is a wonderful, wonderful option. We can also do things like EMDR or what we call EFT, which is tapping. And so that's where it's wonderful, where someone can actually do it themselves versus maybe going to a provider. So that's called emotional freedom technique. Now, another thing that we can do is teach people certain types of breathing exercises. And we can also do a lot of meditation around this. So a lot of people that I see, they're really afraid of meditation or about breath work. But I can slowly get them into it. And you just have to have the right thing for you. So just like you go to the store and you might try on shoes, those shoes might not fit you. And so everybody's different. And so what might actually help to release or help you break down those histamines is going to be different from one person to another. So again, we have to kind of stop that histamine reaction so the body doesn't think it's running from a bear. And number two is really then to break down those histamines for individuals, which can be very specific, right? Makes sense. We're all very, very different. And the reason that we are showing up the way that we are may be our own life story or our family's life story of our lineage imprint. And we do see this within families. They may have more asthma or more eczema, or they may have more kinds of infections that happen for them. And so we want to be really proactive and look at the family history. So I hope that this gives you some insight as to why people after trauma can have more allergic responses. And if you have any more questions about this, feel free to reach out. I have a feeling we're going to be doing some more informational sessions about this because it's such a big topic right now. Thanks so much. Take good care. Feel free to check out the links below. And if you have any questions, submit them to us. We're happy to get an answer to you. Have a great day.